to the marrow. Keeping out of sight, where we all grow into new flow. Sunset spilling out, light leaks on the pavement. Shadows blacking out, punk rock and pagan, dancing like a kid, stepping on the stage, heart like gasoline. I am neon red, black holes in your eyes, hiding for nothing. Symbols in the skies, something is coming. Can't jump off you, dead man on the dance floor, pulsing through your blood. Get ready for the new glow. Dancing like a kid, stepping on the stage, heart like gasoline.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Is the volume gonna moon this weekend or what? Last weekend sucked. Actually, last weekend is what, like, made it seem like we're going off a cliff. And this week's been rough. So, hopefully we see some volume pick up. It's a little bit up the past couple of days, but up from an awful low. So, yeah. Hopefully that's what happens. Dippies ran. So those went to 0.55 or 0.56, which was great to see considering they were called here on the podcast. So if any of you guys picked them up, nicely done. I sold at 0.54 just because I like taking my doubles, my double profits. On these, I'll look to make a play after reveal. So, yeah. Let me get it on the real thing here. We had some soul profits yesterday, both from the call on Balloonsville and the call on the 6 rings. So that was really cool too. Let me get these other guys in here. Yo, what's up, guys?
What's up?
Yo, so check it out. We actually had some decent plays the past couple of days. We had the Dippies play, which was actually called on the podcast here, talked about at 0.2-ish, and we all bought like right then. And I sold at 0.54. We're at 0.495. Obviously reveals here in a few hours. I might try to flip some rares later. And then we had the 6 rings too. Did any of you guys cop the 6 rings, the Soul Mint, yesterday?
I did not.
I didn't buy on the mint, but I wound up. So what they did was they cut the supply in half because nobody was minting it, and it was looking horrible. So I honestly wasn't even looking at it. And then two of our members I saw were talking about it in our NFT chat. So I looked at it, and I saw that the volume was insane. So I grabbed one at 3, and then they shot up to 5, then shot back down to 4, then it just was going crazy. It wasn't like any crazy profit, but I made a quick little like 20-minute flip, so that was cool. They're sitting at like 3.2 right now.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, hopefully people sold too. They're easy double up, I'd say, close to it. I guess at some points it wasn't it?
Yep, for sure. I saw a couple of guys were flipping them in our chat, which was awesome.
Yeah. Nothing like flipping soul projects because it's, yeah, I mean, a lot of them will pump like that exactly and then retrace a bit. So Dippies, I think they're really cool. Not sure they're going to go up anymore before the reveal. They could. What do we have, 6 p.m. Eastern or something?
I think 8 p.m. Eastern.
Wow, so still about 8 hours.
Oh, is it McKay? I may have the wrong time.
What's that? Oh, McKay. McKay's saying he thinks 6:30.
This morning it said 6:30, I think.
Okay. Well, regardless, we've got a few hours. Play at this point, I don't think I'd be buying. Play would be post reveal, look at volume, look at if they look really cool, and try to maybe get some rares. But not set on that play. It's nothing like Invisible Friends, Doodles, any of those big projects where you just have a ton of hype. So we'll see what happens with Dippies. Not married to the project, but I do think there is some potential there.
We've got a lot of music influencers in the project. Last night Snoop Dogg got in, and then Steve Aoki swept the floor.
Yeah,
about
Diplo.
Diplo too, yeah. Wait,
Yeah,
who's
so-
the other guy? The other DJ?
Dylan Francis.
Dylan Francis, yeah, residency in Vegas, I think, is that guy.
Yeah, so these guys are in it. The interesting thing is that like big crypto guys are not really in it, from my understanding. At least what I was able to see. But yeah, I mean, Steve Aoki does have a pretty good influence. I think his buy-in probably pushed the floor up to its high of like 0.6 last night. So yeah, I'm probably looking to exit before reveal. We'll maybe scoop one up if they hit like 0.25, 0.3. I think that's totally reasonable for them to go after reveal. So yeah, that's my plan.
Cool. Let's get off Dippies. Do you guys want to talk about the volume we've seen? I introduced with the volume, taking an uptick here. I'm basically just hoping that we get an explosion this weekend. I mean, historically weekends have been pretty solid, but the past couple I just feel like have been kind of lackluster. Last weekend
Totally.
sucked.
Last weekend was really bad.
That's like what made me feel like super bad about the market.
So if you look at the charts that I had linked, the daily volume is obviously at quite a bit of a low. But if you look at the monthly, we obviously had that huge blow off top in August that everyone, or yeah, I believe that's August I'm looking at. Then we had sort of a retrace into the months of like December, and then January we had that massive blow off top. Obviously retrace now in February a bit. March is expected to be even lower than February at this point. So I think we see like maybe 2 or 3 more months of like lower volume, and then another sort of blow off event. Maybe what is it, March? So I'm looking like a couple, like 3 months out, perhaps like June. I think that could be like a huge month, like May, June time frame. I think that's big, but in the meantime, I think we experience like lower periods of volume like we have been. Just as like the market kind of figures itself out. All of that notwithstanding, of course, like any worldwide conflict, if that were to take place, all bets are off in that situation. But just looking at the monthly, it feels like that pattern can totally repeat itself, especially if March is gonna be as low as we think it will be.
Yeah, look at our weekends here. Back, we had a great weekend, February 12th and 13th, then fell off a cliff, went up a little bit the weekend after that, and now we've just gone really just straight down. And hopefully the past 2-day volume, a little bit of uptick from the previous 2 days. We'll see what happens today. So far we're at what, 37 million it looks like. Yeah, yesterday was 74 million, the day prior 73, and we'll see. Hopefully a huge weekend. We need one like mid-February. So
Totally.
Well, the last time we were as low as yesterday's volume and the day before's was December, which is crazy. We never got that low.
yeah, December
20th or something?
2021. Yeah, 2021,
Yeah.
and pretty bad through until the day after Christmas. Then it kind of notched up.
Like Aiden just said something about the market like finding itself. I think there's something to be said. I feel like sometimes I get the feeling that we're correcting towards where the market should go, which is towards more established projects and teams like Huxley, and obviously a ton of others. But like then I look today at the top mints over the last 24 hours, and it's just the most derivative projects. It's like Azuki Ape MFers. And
But
just
there's no mints. What do you think's going to be minting? What's going to be the top mint?
Yeah, I'm just saying I guess people are just minting just to
Well,
have something to mint. I
a
mean,
top mint could be a trash project, but if it's the best of the trash, it's gonna be the top mint. You see what I'm saying? I mean, there's got to be something minting. There's got to be something that's top minted, and that could be it could be flaming piles of turds if the next, top mints can be anything at this point.
I think he's more saying that it's like discouraging to see people like actually buying into these crap projects.
Just pouring money into
Oh,
shit
of
projects.
course.
Yeah.
That's been happening, and that's why I've said, like, I can't wait till this bullshit stops, because that's when we're going to start to actually see a real market. Right now, it's trash. You have people spending $70 million on Pixelmon. I mean, that's how this ends. It'll end this market when people stop buying all this bullshit. And like I said, you're going to actually have to have a real team like Huxley, like Book Games, like Bored Apes, like a real team or a real company, a big company. But yeah, they're still doing that bullshit. So yeah, we're still in this early stage of where people are just throwing darts and hoping it goes 10x. I don't think that hasn't stopped and won't stop. So, but that's why I don't buy those shitty projects. I don't even read about them. I don't even look at them.
Yeah.
People will bring up projects and I'm like, no, I have no idea. Don't even care. Like, and that's where everybody needs to get to. I saw our collaborators talking about people dislike gambling and stuff, and it's like, yeah, a lot of this shit is just gambling. And the sooner that people look at it as, this is real money that they're throwing 0.1, 0.2 ETH at shit they hope runs. I mean, you could say that at some point, hopefully, projects like Dippy's, people won't be buying those at 0.2. They won't even be 0.2. So
yeah,
that will come. When? Who knows? Somebody brought up Yaku Corp, because they're having their capsule mint tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, so
Someone would
it's
know. Yeah.
Yep. I'm following this one closely. I'm a big fan of this project.
Right.
It's like their second out of 3 mints for their universe that they're building.
Mm-hmm.
So the capsule is essentially like a storage for your bikes, for your avatars. And people are super hyped about them. They're introducing this crazy staking mechanism, which if you hold both bikes and capsules, you actually get early access to, which is cool. And then when their third mint comes out, the avatars, if you hold the bike and the capsule, you get whitelist for that. And based on the bike mint from a couple weeks ago, these won't make it to public. So that's kind of what's driving a lot of the demand behind these. But even at the end of that, there's so much to look forward to, just because, they're promising a lot. And I think if they deliver on it, we're looking at potentially a blue chip in the space.
I mean,
and it looks good too.
Like, when are you going to be able to, you can't play. Yeah, it says playable version coming soon, but it looks like they have some great stuff going on. It's on Unreal Engine 5 too.
Yep. Yeah, they don't have a date, I don't believe now, for the avatars. But there was only a 3-week gap between bikes and capsules. I don't know if that means that we'll have avatars in 3 weeks, but could mean that they're well on development. They keep teasing the stuff, and it looks great. People are super stoked for all of it.
Yeah, I remember following this project a lot more closely before the bike mint and everything. I don't remember where I found it or anything, but yeah, they definitely have a huge team behind this. Speaking of soul stuff, Balloonsville. Do you want to go over their tokenomics?
Yeah, I can talk a bit about that. So, Balloonsville, as many of us know, was kind of like the most infamous rug of Solana history, I guess we could call it. And they've really come back in such a major way, just from Magic Eden taking them over. And they've gotten so much attention and so much volume that their liquidity pool, if you look at that graphic I sent,
yep, I linked it for everyone too.
$300,000, which is a lot for a Sol project. I haven't seen anything like that personally.
Mm-hmm.
They put a lot of utility behind the token. There's obviously the monetary value. That's pretty good. They have what they're calling balloon homes coming out. and those are going to cost 300. Their token's called Air, so it's going to cost 300 Air. There's only 3,000 of those that will be made, and every time you buy one, the cost of building it is going to go up. So it kind of drives that value of the coin or the token a little bit more.
Huh.
They've got engines coming out. They just got a lot of utility on the horizon for it.
Right.
And this reminds me of, which project was it that did this?
Mindfolk?
I don't know too much about Mindfolk. It was a different. I forget
Okay.
what it was. One of the bigger ones, but there was a ton of different utility for the token itself. It might be EGOS, and their token is, I want to say, like 90 cents to $1 right now, which for something like this is pretty high.
Right.
So, and then you have the just usual staking that people love that drives a project's demand. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for these. I bought back in. I got a pretty good one that was pretty undervalued on the floor like an hour ago. I got a rainbow rare.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And we're
I
at
know
like
a bunch-
6 soul floor or something?
Yeah. So we saw it pump up to 9, I believe, last night
Mhm.
when they made the announcement. They actually have a big Twitter space at, I think it's 6 p.m. later. So I'm hoping that pushes it up a little bit. But I don't know. I think with such a famous project now and all this money behind it, it's a recipe for success. I really like them.
Seems like it could be blue chip, especially with the way that they're building this kind of ecosystem, right? Like they're obviously paying a lot of attention to the tokenomics, and people, the market in general, seems to be paying attention to what they're doing. So I like it. I haven't invested really like in aftermarket soul plays, but this might be the first one I actually decide to go in on. Seems like the team is solid enough to where, like Adam said, it's really not that big of a risk.
Yeah, with Magic Eden behind them, they have plenty of funding.
And there's a ton of market liquidity too. Like that's always my concern whenever I'm buying soul stuff is like, can I sell this and get out of it if I need to? It seems like with a project like this, you really can.
And they look cool. So you got that.
And they are cool. Yeah, they are
Cool, unique. You can definitely put them as a profile picture and people will know, hey, they got that project that was a rug and now it's cool. So I like it. I don't
Yeah.
I like buying even at 6-ish, to be honest, compared to some of the other projects that are like 10, 15. So I think it's got some room, some upside.
Yeah, in terms of the floor, I honestly see it going one of two ways. It's either
Down or
so the
up.
staking hasn't, well, both up,
Okay.
but in two different ways.
Okay.
So the staking hasn't actually started yet, right? I don't know off the top of my head when it starts, but so Route 1, I think people are going to sell into the news of staking starting, and we'll see the floor dip, but I think it's just going to get bought right back up, and then boom. So that's Route 1. Route 2, I think, is the staking is going to prove to be so strong that we might not even see that typical dip, and then moonshot. So I really like these. Moral of the story.
Awesome.
bullish. I know one of our collaborators has been all over this project, like in potential flips, which is cool because we typically don't cover that in those types of flips. But Prev Plug and Let's Get Bread have been all over this, so pretty dope.
Yeah. Yo, the backup. You come in every day asking for an invite. I mean, at this point, we have a wait list on our website. I'll link it, but yeah, just join the wait list. I go through once a week and look at what's on there, and yeah, that's your best bet right now. We'll do a public restock sometime this month, though. Thanks for coming in here, though, every day. Let's go over the Ukraine stuff, because yesterday they said they were not doing an airdrop, but they are doing NFTs, and we kind of missed that whole thing. But anyways, are they just going to do... Oh, that is so interesting. What does he mean when he says we do not have any plans to issue any fungible tokens?
I
Fungible,
would assume it means they're issuing non-fungible tokens,
which is an
means-
NFT.
which is NFTs. Yeah,
Wouldn't a fungible token be like
a coin, right?
like touchable? Yeah, like, does he know what he's saying? That's
I
my
don't even
question.
know. He's just using buzzwords and getting a ton of engagement.
We do not have any plans to issue any fungible tokens. Okay, so you're not doing any silver dollars? Like, huh. All right. Well, they're doing NFTs. I don't have much more to say about that, to be honest.
I think it could do well. I mean, we'll have to obviously get some more information about it, but I mean,
Shit.
there's so much buzz about Ukraine and Russia, obviously, because they're on the center stage right now, but also because, there's a lot of support for the Ukrainian people during this time. So
Mhm.
I think a project like this, especially with, I would bet royalties are going to go to them and everything else, like, totally going to be a buy whenever it comes out. But that was all I really had for that one. Just kind of interesting that they'd
Yeah.
be venturing into the Web3 space like this.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to really understand what he's saying, but maybe he does, and I don't know what I'm saying. So, okay, let's get off of that because I don't know enough about it. OpenSea and MetaMask restrictions. Yeah, I mean, not what you want to see, to be honest, if we're talking about decentralization. There'll be opportunities. Obviously, there's probably other extensions or something that is out there and they won't adhere to U.S. sanctions because they're not U.S.-based companies. But yeah, they basically shut down on OpenSea anybody from Iran. And then Venezuela was shut off by MetaMask. Was MetaMask also shut off in Iran?
Not yet.
Yes.
Oh, it was? Okay.
I thought Garrett had said it was yesterday.
Well, we're not going off that. So let's see.
Yesterday, Garrett had said it was.
I know that MetaMask announced, like MetaMask's parent company announced that, like, all those places that we have sanctions against, Iran, North Korea, Cuba, Syria, and then some areas in actually like Russian-controlled Ukraine would be banned from using MetaMask. I believe they're like terminating people's accounts too. I don't know what that process looks like, but if they're just like eliminating the accounts, that's awful for those people who have stuff in there. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think like for the sense of, or for like, I don't know, for saying why we're talking about this is just that everyone talks about how Web3 is decentralized and nobody can touch your NFTs and blah blah blah. Obviously, that's not the case, and we're finding out now. That's my takeaway from this. So there will be opportunities in a free market for other. This will create opportunities. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, it's not going to do much for our NFTs or even cryptocurrency plays right now, but just some kind of big news because you see how it isn't actually completely decentralized at all. So
Totally.
okay, this one hurts. This one, we're talking about Drifter Shoots and his collection. For those of you that don't know, is Where My Vans Are, or Go. Which one is it?
Go.
My Vans Go. So this one sucks because I really wanted to buy the project, and I bought a mutant ape, a second mutant, and I was like, the day after, I was like, shit, I totally forgot that I wanted one of these, and they were like 25 Ethereum at the time. And now they're 59, and it makes complete sense, and I think they should go up to 100. But yeah, he was featured in Sotheby's, and what did it go for?
95 ETH.
95 ETH. I think that's undervalued by a ton.
There's one for 59 on the floor, and then the next is like 65 for his normal collection.
Yeah, and this is really interesting, and I've noticed. I started looking at this months ago. I think it was 117 at the time, but obviously we're at 118 items. I think there's like he can auction off one more, according to him saying there's 119 iconic images. Have you noticed like how he has one more that he can put in the collection according to the description?
Yeah.
So he's smart. It's too bad he doesn't have two, to be honest, because once he does the one, it's done. I always like, even when I'm buying NFTs, I like getting two, because in this case, he'll have one, and it's like, does he do it when his floor is here, or does he do it when his floor is like literally? I mean, I think it'll be 100, 150. So, kind of interesting, and also like, is the image he just did for Sotheby's a part of the collection, or does it even matter type thing?
That was my question. Is it like a one of one in its own collection, or is it
Right.
part of it? I didn't see it.
Let's
There was
see.
no sale logged on OpenSea, obviously, because it wasn't transacted there. But we'd have to trace it and figure out like where it's actually going.
It doesn't look like Whatever It Takes is a name of one of his photos, but it actually doesn't matter because none of these have names, so they're just numbered.
Yeah.
More than 10x its high estimate. I'm surprised they would. How is that 10x? It's. Anyways, that guy's cool. It's one of the projects that is, in my mind, one of the best projects to be in. Honestly, I would rather have one of these. I don't know. Obviously, the floor is higher on Bored Apes, but these I think are just. These are just, I think, have a lot more upside right now. That's all I would say about that.
I do too. And this guy, I mean, he's super relevant in the space.
Right.
Obviously, the supply is far lower. People really enjoy these too, and
Yeah.
there's a real artistic element to them. Obviously, because they're not like generative; they're actually taken. He actually went to these places, which is just crazy to think about. But yeah, I love this project. I think they're really cool.
We were talking about, or I had said to Garrett or somebody, like, you know, Vans would probably never sponsor him, and I'm sure they've had conversations of doing so, just because they probably don't want to sponsor somebody who does something so risky with their life. Yeah, so it just wouldn't be a good look. Yeah. Anyways, let's get off of this guy. Really cool guy. All that. I think his project's amazing. Do we have any other NFT stuff before we talk shoes? I would say, again, NFTs, just a quick recap for me on like what I'm looking at, what I'm doing. With this market being kind of bearish the past week, I've just focused on projects where their floor has stayed steady or even risen. So I was watching Invisible Friends closely because I did very well flipping rares, but I still do have one. And I just noticed that they would not go below 5.5. And it kind of seemed like they were just kind of accumulating there. And they have risen the past 12 hours or so, about 1 ETH. So I watched that one closely. Clone X had a nice bump. Obviously, they're just constantly doing something. They have the most resources of anybody by far with Nike acquiring them. Your Wonder Pals, your Star Catchers, projects like that, the Dented Fields, whatever, those are projects that, in my opinion, are just, you don't even pay attention to those. I know some of you might have them, but yeah, that's not a project I would want to be in this type of environment right now. And then you guys all know that Book Games and Huxley I'm bullish on, and they've gone up in this market. So Three Landers did have a run, and it was based on, I guess, the campfire stuff, and then they came right back down, which, yeah, it's tough to see because they're really cool, but at the same time, kind of no real roadmap or anything that I know of. So what are you guys doing in this market where we're really kind of like skittish, to say the least? Unsure.
I'm just hanging
uncertain.
on to the projects I have. These low volume situations, it doesn't make sense to try to compete with other people and list stuff in collections that aren't selling at the same velocity from before. But that being said, I'm also not really buying right now. I think when we see these large spikes in volume, we'll be able to get back into projects that we like, that maybe we were sitting on the sidelines for a bit. When that volume is kind of confirmed, so we know that we have the ability to sell if we want to do so. But until then, I'm kind of just waiting. Dippies were an interesting play for me. Normally one that I wouldn't take on such a whim, but they felt really undervalued when we kind of discovered them on the podcast, for lack of a better word. So I decided to do that, and that actually turned out pretty nicely. But besides that, not looking to buy any other new projects. Kind of just sitting on ETH, trying to stack it if I can, make some offers on some stuff if I feel like it's low enough. But yeah, not playing as aggressively as I would be in a bull market for sure.
Yeah, and VFriend's actually up too. I forgot to mention that. Another project in these, times that are uncertain, there's uncertainty in the market. it's one that's gone up, and you know that's what I like to see. I would love to have a V1. Gary V is basically saying that in the next couple days you're gonna see why these are so undervalued. He's great at creating FOMO, and so I've got FOMO for these. Not sure I'll make an entry though. They're expensive to say the least. So, but yeah, again, another project. I guess it goes hand in hand with book games. But and is there anything else NFT related that we want to cover while we're kind of at the NFT section, ending section here? I don't think there was.
Yeah, nothing else for me.
Cool.
I think we touched all the soul stuff too.
Yeah, let's quickly go over shoes.
Yeah.
They're making a comeback. I feel it. At breakfast,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I think there's going to be a huge resurgence in shoes. People are going to be going out like crazy. They're going to be going out 6 days a week. They've been so sick and tired of sitting at home and stuff. So at least I have. Let's go into your New Balances that you bought it yesterday, McKay.
Okay, yeah. It was Jown New Balances. We saw them released last week on Jown's site. We've already talked about these on the podcast when they had released last week, but we've kind of came to the consensus that they're a great hold. Prices right now are fine, and prices should remain strong. I think anywhere between 350 and 450 is reasonable for really any size. I'm holding. I hit 9 pairs total. I'm gonna hold all of them. I'm gonna keep 1 pair to wear because I think they're sweet. The quality's great on them. There's like no Jown branding, which I assume there would be branding, but I guess New Balance's thing is kind of with these Jown collaborations has really always been go with a unique color that you can only buy if it's a Jown collaboration and forget about the branding. And I think that's kind of what sold the shoes in the past as well. If you look at the past collaborations, they're all just cool navy colors or cool cream colors that go really well together. So that's it for the Jowns. They're sweet. They're gonna continue to do well. Then we have Static 700s dropping tomorrow. This is kind of a more speculative play. What's happening is we have Yeezys dropping on Monday, and so there's a lot of guys not even running for the Yeezys tomorrow because they're saving resources for Monday, which I understand. On the Statics tomorrow, prices are like 330 to 380. With a retail of 300, I think it's going to be kind of tight. This is obviously a restock from several years ago. The shoe itself is great. My concern is this $300 price point because we had seen 700 V3s released in the past at 240, and so I'm gonna run tomorrow. But and the rumor is the stock is low. If for some reason stock is high and I'm hitting like several pairs, which is unrealistic, my plan with that is to just sell. Yeah, that's all I have.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, personally, I've been like just any shoes I get my hands on, I don't bought, but any shoes I do get my hands on, I just have been keeping them because I'm waiting for this spring and summer. And yeah, all these shoes recently that have been a go have been solid. I don't like that the 700s are $300 retail, but
Me either.
that'll it just makes it like, you could hold there's just other shoes are cheaper to hold, or personally I hold a ton of vinyls and I could hold 10 vinyls and make better profit. But these are fine. I'll probably flip them quickly so I don't have to hold them on these 300s if I get any.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Anything else? That's the 3 sneakers, and I really don't have anything before the weekend.
That's all I've got.
Yeah.
Cool. Good luck
Some
on
big weekend stuff.
good luck on anything you guys are doing with Yaku's, Dippies, or any other plays you guys are making. We'll be back on Monday. Thanks for
Busy
joining.
weekend. Good luck on everything, guys.
Cool.